Welcome back to K24 this morning. It is, of course, our social hour with me, Shiko Kaitani, as we talk about a silent pandemic, domestic violence. Yes, we are going through COVID-19, but there are those who are suffering right in their households. And that's our focus today. We're talking about abusive relationships, toxic relationships. What can we do to protect ourselves, both men and women, by the way? And of course, how we can help our loved ones. And we want you to share your stories with us. Do you have any questions for our panelists today? We want to hear from you through our socials at K24TV. And of course, through our WhatsApp number that's at the bottom of your screen. But here's the big one. What makes a spouse stay in an abusive relationship? Think about it. Even when you think about those neighbors who are always fighting, why are they still together? We ask such questions. Remember, family therapist Grace Destiny is still with us, as well as Hannah Muna, who is a counselor psychologist from LVCT Health. Let's sample some of your feedback before we get back to the ladies. Why do we have rising cases of domestic violence? The panelists are concentrating more on separation. What is the root cause and what is the panacea? Bernard from Nairobi. Hello, I have a question. How can I help a friend who recently confessed that the dad is violent towards the mom, and sometimes this violence spills over to the kids? Okay, so kids and violence, let's see what we have here. Okay, I have a lady and she's 20 years of age. She is ongoing with her studies. Okay, apologies for that. Once we talk over something, she gets up angry at me and she quickly starts to fight me. Like now, when I buy her clothes, she doesn't accept them. All she wants is to fight and fight and fight. They're back and she asks for forgiveness for me. Okay, so we've got, a bit of a toxic relationship there that we'll talk about in just a moment. Okay, so getting back to what we had covered earlier on, which is the question we had from one viewer who says that we focus too much on women. And we agree, but here's the situation. We have shows where we give men platforms to discuss, they don't show up. You ask men to call in and share their stories, they don't call. So here's the situation, and I'm not attacking the men right now, but Hannah, how do you go about counseling men specifically so that, like I had said, they can maintain their dignity? And remember, ego is a huge factor here. How do you go about this?
Okay, you see, counseling is not for a particular gender. Counseling is for anyone who feels like they have an issue and they would like to have someone talk out the problem with. So it is not any different for men or women. So the only thing we observe is that less men are willing to come out and say, hey, I think I have a problem. I think my marriage is on the rocks. I think my relationship with my friend or my mother or whoever, my workmate, is on the rocks. So we do not have a particular way that we counsel men differently from women, but we do encourage more men to seek counseling, but we see the numbers are still very low. I think a man admitting that he has a problem is a problem on its own for that we need to address. That men need to understand that they need to talk to someone if they feel they are being overwhelmed by emotions, by maybe something traumatic has happened. They need to seek counseling services.
Grace, what is your advice to people who now find themselves in such a situation, but now it's affecting children and you dealing with family issues or family affairs? How can we protect our children from even seeing this? Because I know a lot of women also try to protect their kids. They'll try to show their kids that their husband doesn't beat them, for example.
Unfortunately, most people get into families unaware, unprepared, and without any training. We realize that we ignore a lot the feelings of our children. We actually ignore what they feel. We assume they don't know. Kids understand even when you lock yourselves in the bedrooms and fight. A child will notice that mom today is frowning and dad is walking in big steps. And they would like to find out after the big steps and you enter the bedroom what happened. Even if you try to keep it cool, kids will always understand something. The most painful part is that the kids are neutral. They have you and the other spouse in their hearts.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you disagreed on, they were not part of it, but bringing it on in their sight is the most painful thing. I've seen children who become violent after watching their parents' violence.
Yeah. True.
Sometimes it's not good to recommend separation. But it's always good to have a third party.
Yeah.
Either a parent, a counselor, or someone who will make it sober. Make you guys sober and open up to seeing how you can handle your crisis.
Right.
Emotional abuse may be hidden, but physical, it's not possible.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes you'll hit someone and there's a black eye. There's no way you're going to lie to your child that you fell in the bathroom and you had a black eye only.
Yeah.
They will definitely understand.
Right.
The damage that is done in the kids is irreversible. These kids either get violent in schools, they also feel unwanted in the family. There's a teenager I've been counseling. That was since last year, December. This boy believes that he is the reason the parents are not in agreement.
Yeah.
He feels like he's a firstborn.
Yeah.
And he feels like he came unexpected. And so the parents had to come together, they had to get married, and he always feels he's the reason.
All right, hold that thought, Grace, because I understand we've got a caller on the line. Hopefully she's still there. Is Sally still with us? Good morning, Sally. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, karibu sana.
Nilikuwa nauliza swali hapo.
Aha.
Nilikuwa nauliza swali. Sasa nilikuwa nauliza huku Kilifi huku.
Aha.
Wanaume wanachapwa sana. Tunapata mwanaume anaenda kazi usiku anakuja asubuhi.
Aha, endelea Salim, tunakusikia.
Anachapwa, yani anachapwa kabisa hadi anafukuzwa. Alafu unajua yule mwanaume ni mkubwa, kuna watoto, sasa niweze toka. Unaweza saidiaje hapo?
Okay, asante sana. His line isn't too clear, but I get what he's saying. And anasema huku, especially this is an issue down at the coast. We've seen quite a number of human rights groups talk about this. Wamama wanachapwa, hata unaona mzee anamfukuza. How do you help a woman who's in that particular situation? Especially because, like the way Grace said, for a lot of women, it's you will inherit nothing, you will get nothing once you leave
go
that
nowhere.
house.
You have nowhere to go.
You have nowhere to go also.
There are even some parents who literally chase you back and tell you there's no room here, we gave you your bed, go back to your husband's house.
So speaking about even the fact that you guys provide support to public health facilities, are you spread across the country? Someone down at the coast, how do they even get that help, like the way Salim is asking?
Okay.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're in 27 out of the 47 counties. And at the coast, we're in Kilifi, we're in Mombasa. And even when I was saying about referrals, we mostly refer people to government facilities because they're available countrywide. You know, there is no county that does not have a government facility. So if it's about physical violence and they feel they need to visit a hospital, there is a place they can get psychosocial support. So as we come in, where we provide now the psychosocial support in hospitals and such places. And at the coast specifically, we've also seen with research that the cases are very rampant. Maybe due to information, less information maybe gets to especially the rural areas. So it's more of maybe getting to empower people, getting to inform them what is violence.
Right.
You know, if you're going through violence, what are the steps you're supposed to take? You know, when Grace is saying that you have maybe you feel like, if I'm having an issue with my husband and he's chasing me away, then I go to my home place and I discover that even my parents are telling me, marriage in kuvumilia, can you please go back to your husband and make it work? You know, I'm at your father's, why do you want to come back here?
Exactly.
You know? And you're left wondering, what do I do? No, that is why we say empowerment.
Empowerment. Okay, let's hear what Mark from Kapsabet has to say. Hopefully still on the line as well. Mark?
Yes.
Karibu sana, thank you so much for calling in. Do you have a question, a comment? What would you like to say?
I just have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, we can hear you, go ahead.
Asante sana. I just have a question to ask your panel. How can the parents avoid the stresses they have at work? How can the parents avoid the stresses they have at work? That they bring them home so that the kids do not see what goes on at their workplaces.
Yeah,
that's my question, Chico.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, Grace, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but you are actually still on that point about children.
I didn't get the question.
Alisema, how do parents avoid their stresses or everything that's happening around us so that the children don't get to witness the frustrations coming through?
There's something we call self-control.
Yes.
Everybody has a portion of it. That is why I said a man who would slap his wife would be able to contain himself once they have an argument with a colleague or a sister or a neighbor.
Yeah, true.
So there's always that sense of, do you understand the damage that this would bring to your children? If you do, you would control yourselves.
Yes.
You'd rather get out and go argue yourselves outside. Make sure you are smiling your faces in the house.
Yes.
The way you control yourself in the presence of your boss. Even if your boss provokes you to the head and downwards, you will never snap on him.
Yes.
If you can control yourself, you can still do the same.
Right.
When you have your children at heart and you're thinking about them more than yourself, it is possible to control yourselves and not show everything in their faces. But you see, this is a matter of two people. And a marriage is something that is very complicated because these are two grown-ups with different minds, thinking differently. If maybe one person is or have the kids at heart and is thinking about the children and the other one is not, the other one will provoke this other one. But I think it's a matter of having your children at heart, understanding the damage you're creating in your children, you will be able to control yourself.
Okay. Hannah, please respond to one of the ladies. She didn't leave her name, but she actually talked about how one lady had miscarriages or at least her husband is pushing her to have probably, an abortion. And so what you're really seeing out of that text is a lot of manipulation.
Yeah. Toxic.
It's quite toxic. So can you highlight that? Because she's asking, how do I help my friend who seems to be having, losing all these children and her husband is telling her, do this, do that, especially when it comes to, having babies. That's a sensitive one. Why don't you address that?
When it comes to helping someone, there's only so much you can help until you realize that the decision to get help is actually on the individual.
Right.
You see, it is the friend who is being abused. It's the friend who's being taken through all these things.
Yeah.
So the best you can do is maybe refer her to counseling, maybe give what we call advice. Maybe just try to highlight that this relationship might be toxic to you, but the judgment or the decision still remains her friend's decision.
Wow, that's a very good point.
There's nothing you can push. You can't tell her get out of the house. You can't drag her out. But you can point out that there's much better life than this, than what you're living.
Good point. LVCT cannot show up at your doorstep and pull you out. Clifford from Meru is on the line. Clifford, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, karibu sana. Question or a comment?
Yes.
Clifford, we're going to ask you to turn down your TV or your monitor so that you can hear us.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment.
Okay. All right, Clifford, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so please go ahead because of time.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on this.
Really? Okay.
These are gadgets.
All right. Thank you for bringing, a light moment to our show. Okay. We've got a situation whereby there's a viewer, Grace, who talks about how they're having a bit of a roller coaster kind of relationship with their girlfriend or whoever. He's buying her clothes, she's showing him attitude, they're fighting and bickering, and then they get back together. But there's something that you mentioned earlier on that it's also a psychological thing. There are some people who absolutely love to live in chaos.
Oh yes.
Unapenda tu makelele.
People who just thrive in pain. They don't know how to handle peace.
Yes. They can't handle
depending
peace.
On where they were brought up.
So this guy is trying to wonder what is it about this woman and Anitetesha
I
all
would
the
not
time.
even not talk about a woman there, I think she's a girl.
Yes.
The guy never told us his age,
yes.
but the girl is 20.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine this guy is way older than the girl.
Probably.
And this girl, 20 years is on the lower side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on how old is the man. But I think she just doesn't know what is supposed to happen. A parent will buy you clothes.
Yes.
You will appreciate even if you don't like them.
Yeah, true.
It depends on where she's coming from. There's a lot to dig into this. I can't just answer on the face value. Because this is 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't even know whether she's a wife or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we really can't tell. It is the information is a bit shallow. We may not be able to answer deeply. Because this girl looks like she's bitter with something. It's like she's into this looking for problems. Because if you're fighting because you have been bought clothes, then that means if you're not bought clothes, you'll kill.
I know, right?
Someone buys you clothes and you're fighting them simply because you didn't like the clothes. It sounds like there's a psychological issue
there. Or she could have some unresolved issues.
Okay, and very quickly, because I think we have about 10 minutes to go.
All right.
The question is, do we make the mistakes in the dating phase before we getting into this marriage? Because you ask yourself, how did you not know this guy is violent?
60 to 70%.
Yeah?
We do make mistakes because there are red flags.
Red flags. Red flags.
And there are things you assume, like you say, maybe you went out and this guy shouted at you, you know, and told you, no, you're stupid, you shouldn't have done that. And you're like, maybe it's me. Again, he hits you, he slaps you. You're like, I think it's me who provoked him. So I think I need, just like you're saying, I need to go down. I need to know my place in this relationship.
Yeah.
So if it starts there during the dating phase, you can only imagine where it will get once you become legally married. So
by the way,
and on the other side, even a gentleman, you need to look at the woman you're dating, and check what is she up to.
Is she drama?
Is she drama queen, or she's a normal human being?
Right. Yes. Because so, your life is also in danger, by the way. If you have a woman who can
unfortunately
hit the roof.
There's something that Muna said about empowerment. How empowered are we before we get into a relationship?
Right.
Why are we getting married in the first place? Why are we marrying for the right reasons?
Right.
If I date a guy, I should be sober enough to notice those red flags. If a man dates a woman, he should be sober enough to notice the red flags. So you don't just overlook things just to get yourself in a hot soup later in life. So open your minds and let us open our young people's minds to understand what is marriage, what's the purpose of marriage, and where not. To continue in a relationship.
Hannah, as we begin to wind up, you know, why don't you tell us some of the things we should expect if I decide to report this situation or this matter? We have cases whereby people are not receiving quality services, who also don't know what they ought to be asking for, because umefika tu kwa hospitali, you don't know what to ask. You've gotten to the police station, you don't know what to say or what to ask for.
Okay. First of all, it's important to actually decide that this is what you want to do. Because you find mostly when victims go to hospital and you're like, what happened to you? And even if they know the perpetrator, they will not say it's I was raped or I was sexually abused, you know. So it's important to know that when you go to hospital, you need to get, if it's medical attention, and you need to get psychosocial support, or what we call debrief. This is to assist you be able to maybe process what happened, and also able to process the next steps, which is reporting. This, again, like Grace said, you have to have known that this is the way that you want to go. As you go to the police station, you're able to go and tell them that this is what happened, and I want to take this matter to the next step. So that is, those are some of the things that you need to expect. Sometimes it's not an easy journey, that where you expect that you report today, by tomorrow the perpetrator has been brought to books. No, it's a journey that sometimes when victims feel that, I think I need to drop this because it keeps maybe inflicting me more pain, especially if you know the perpetrator. And that is why it's important to continue the psychosocial support even as you're trying to seek the justice.
And and I think once you get past that stage, now you can decide, do you even want this matter to, you know, take a legal approach?
Like what Grace was saying, if it's in a marriage, you know, you're married and you've taken this person to the police station, and here maybe your parents are telling you, can you guys just sit down and solve this? So and you find the victim, they're not sure, do they want to go that way, or do they want to listen to the parents and solve the issue, you know, inside the marriage? So you have to be decided what it is that you want. But you also understand that once it has happened to you, you might not be of clear judgment, clear mind. And that is why we advise you to seek counseling for psychosocial support.
All right, we have literally 1 minute to go. One aspect I want to bring up very quickly, Grace, is how we use either the good book or we use the Quran to turn things around. In other words, religion.
How we use religion.
How we use religion to justify some of this behavior. Someone will tell you, oh, I'm a Christian. God says he doesn't like divorce.
Yeah. Until death do us part. So I'm waiting to be killed. Then death will do us part.
Right. Death do us apart. And you see that also a lot, even with our Muslim brothers and sisters as well. There will be people who are suffering or women suffering and, you know, they won't be able to get out simply because
I think God has
given. Wait, hold that thought. I understand we've got a caller. Do we have a caller? Oh, okay. Victor wants to talk to us very quickly. Right. Victor, yes, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, karibu sana.
Yes. I have a question.
Yes.
It's about gender-based violence.
Yes.
Now, it happens that, you know, being grown up in a family, so this gender-based violence do happen. But under the influence of alcohol and what have you, and also when you come to literacy, you will realize that even as much as you can tell somebody this is not right and it is not right for all the children in the family, you must talk this. How can you correct that? How can you communicate it to the people who are ahead of you, the heads of the family?
Ah, okay.
So that they can correct and also respect, because as we grew up, we will also want to set a record and a very nice life, not going in line to gender-based, you know, all that, you know, all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Victor. All right. Do we have another caller? Okay. He has brought up a very interesting point about how we can also assist those, number one, who are older than us to pretty much change their ways. So how do we go about speaking to our parents, to our relatives, and getting them to do more or less what Grace is talking about, find middle ground and discuss these issues so that they themselves cannot influence their children negatively. So by the way, for someone who's watching and they do know that they have either older siblings or parents who seem to be, you know, in these domestic issues, how do they go about addressing that? But anyway, you were talking about using religion as an excuse before you answer Victor.
I would like to say that religion gets to know us because we are born and we are alive. And once you die, the father, the church, or the religious background, whatever relationship you have with the religion, will go up to the grave. This is your life.
Yes.
Religion has a place, but you as a person, if religion will not stop me from getting violence, it won't stop my husband from beating me up. It won't stop my wife from answering back to me and torturing me psychologically. Then I've got to deal with this as a person. It is too personal to go to the religion. So I usually say, if you know that after you die, your religion will not resurrect you, please try and don't die.
Yes, it's true.
Due to the religion.
You can be alive. Okay, sorry. You can be alive and not married, but you cannot be dead and married at the same time. And God likes us to worship Him, both in the Muslim and Christianity. To worship when you're dead. So even God wants people who are alive.
Right. Okay. Very good point. What's your answer to Victor very quickly about how we can, you know, talk and speak into the lives of those who we know are in the middle of all this chaos?
Naturally, we don't correct upwards. It's not easy. It's not easy for me to go and sit my parents down and tell them this thing is not right. You can only look for someone, a mediator. If they cannot go, they cannot be convinced to go and seek counseling and help, you can get a person who is close to them. Like, for example, you know who is close to your father. You can talk to them and tell them, this is becoming toxic. Our children, my siblings are getting affected. Maybe you can talk to my father or my mother about this. If you find that you need help to your senior siblings or parents.
Yeah.
Get a mediator. You may not be the right person to talk to them, depending on how you relate. Although there are young people who are also a voice to their parents, depending on how they relate. There are those parents who look up to their children for anything, support, and they would listen to them. Maybe if you understand that you can be listened to, go to talk to your parents. If you can't, look for a mediator.
A mediator, good point. Hannah, as we say Kwaheri, you talked about having a hotline.
Yes.
You want to share that hotline very quickly so that we can say Kwaheri? There's probably someone who'd like to call.
Oh, yes. The hotline number is 1190 1190. It is free to call or text us.
Yeah.
And for the young people, you can also find us on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
You can find us there. Please call us. We have our counselors, professional counselors, are ready to assist you between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. every day, whether it's a holiday, whether it's a Sunday. Every single day.
Wow.
1190 is your number.
Okay, 1190 110.
1190.
1190.
Yes.
Okay, you've had it. Thank you so much. And it's free. It's free.
Wow.
Call. Absolutely. So there's no reason why you cannot speak up and get the help that you deserve. But ladies, you know, we have to stop there. I know we can talk so much, especially with Grace. I know we are going to take a break, take water. We'll be back here and continue for another 2 hours, right? Just answering those questions. But remember, if you want to get in touch with a family therapist like Grace Destiny, why don't you let us know? You can also DM me for her contacts. Remember, Hannah has also given you that hotline number should you require that help from LVCT Health. They are obviously here to assist, and they do have more or less support systems with public health facilities. That's why it's so important to share that number. But the message here, it must start with you. You have to want the help.
And something I forgot to mention, we're also seeking counseling services for individuals.
Yeah.
We have the WEMA counseling services at LVCT.
Sawasa, asante sana. So if this conversation was helpful, like I always like to say, let us know. Our social media platforms are at K24 TV. Our WhatsApp number is there. Let me leave it there and say thank you so much for watching. My name is Shiko Kaitani. The Daily Brief is up next. Bye-bye.
Bye.